it was a fiasco. Are we doing this? Alright, today we are clearly, you're gonna need to stop dripping, sir. I am in a bath. It wasn't the best bath day choice on my part, considering it's about 86 degrees out in Seattle today. So I have kind of a lukewarm bath situation happening. You might be wondering, it's Foundation Friday, why are we in a bathtub? Great question. I'm pre-filming a ton of videos right now. I got 13 done. This was the last one. I was planning on doing a Foundation Friday for today, and I had a migraine the first half of the day, so filming Foundation Friday could not happen. But I figured, why not multitask and hopefully help out my back neck situation happening right now, and take a oh, I have hair all over my shoulder. Cool. Take an Epsom salt bath in my boyfriend's bathtub, because I don't have a bathtub, while we film a little Q&A video for today's video. So I asked you guys on Facebook and Twitter to ask away, ask any questions you want me to answer. By the way, the face mask I have on right now is the Ole Henriksen Cold Pour Plunge Mask. It feels so good, especially when it's like super hot out, because it's kind of cooling. And then I tried out this. I actually literally just went to Walgreens in pajamas at 3 p.m. in the afternoon to get bubble bath, but this is the Shea Moisture Daily Hydration Coconut bubble bath. It doesn't bubble a whole lot, I will say. I was hoping for like a very frothy bath so I could kind of zoom out and we wouldn't have to be all up in my face and you could actually see more of the bathtub, but that didn't really happen. And then this is just Dr. Teal's Epsom salt. I also picked up, I have my Walgreens bag right here. Let's do a Walgreens bathtub haul. I picked up the Bondi Sands tan remover because in the video where I tested the tan remover against baking soda, a lot of you guys said this one was amazing, and I just passed it in Walgreens when I was getting the bubble bath. So I want to try it. I think it was like 24 bucks, so not cheap, but if it works, that'd be awesome. And then this, a lot of you guys recommended too, when I was asking for recommendations for just something to make you like glowy without transferring. You guys said this, sunscreen, Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Body Mist. I hope I got the right one, which that's actually genius. I never thought to use sunscreen as like a glowy kind of product. I'm assuming it's gonna have the sunscreen scent, but hopefully I can just like mask that with perfume. All right, I gotta lean back here, folks, so I apologize if you cannot even tell we are in a bathtub. When I remodel my bathroom, I'm for sure gonna put in a bathtub. I really wanna get one of the clawfoot. I can never remember if it's crawfoot or clawfoot. I think it's clawfoot. I wanna get one of those like old tubs and refinish it and then do like a curtain situation around it. I'm excited. I don't know when I'm remodeling my bathroom, but it's on the to-do list. All right, let's head to Facebook first. So my Facebook page is just the Taylor. I'm having so many issues with my Facebook page right now. If you know anything about this, please comment down below, or if you have a contact at Facebook, because they are literally impossible to get a hold of and I cannot figure out how to fix this out. But basically my page, my like YouTube page, the Taylor, is a gray account, which means it's like not connected in the right way to anything, so I can't connect it to Instagram. I can't do certain things with Instagram and Facebook and like their API. Anyways, that's boring to most of you. This question is fitting. Dare Vay Tally says, what are some of your favorite self-care items, whether it be face masks, bath items, binge watching shows, eating your favorite snacks, etc.? Lately, I've been hooked on Cheerios with mango with coconut milk. Not any coconut milk, you have to get the brand Khalifa Farms. Their unsweetened coconut milk is amazing. That combo, there's like something about it that is just so good. I eat cereal at any point throughout the day, sometimes for dinner. Face masks, I'm really liking this one right now. I'm really liking the Pixie Glow sheet mask right now. That one's great. Binge watching shows right now, I'm watching Billions, which I really like so far. I'm only on season 1. My parents love that show. They've been telling me to watch it for like 2 years. Married at First Sight, always a favorite. If you haven't seen Married at First Sight and you're into like dating and relationship-y kind of things, it's actually a really interesting show. It sounds like it's just going to be really shitty like reality TV, but it's really interesting. They have doctors and therapists and sex therapists and everything on there, and not only is it like an interesting show, but if you have a significant other in your life, it's a really good show to watch with them, because it brings up these topics and conversations that probably wouldn't happen, or it would happen like way later. So it's just like a good conversation starter. A lot of the things that I've talked about with my boyfriend when we watched the show together, a lot of the things that we've talked about, we probably would not have talked about if it wasn't for Married at First Sight. Especially if you're someone where it doesn't come like naturally, or you don't enjoy bringing up topics like that, definitely watch the show. Mercedes says, do you have a go-to airline you like to travel with when you fly? I know you have a lot of trips planned in the near future. Usually whatever's cheapest, but some airlines I do avoid just like based on reviews. So I don't always go with what's cheapest, but British Airways I've always had a good experience with when traveling internationally. Emirates is amazing. Any of the ones that have points that connect with your point systems, like on your credit card or whatever, are also great. I recently, speaking of travel credit cards, got the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. It is freaking amazing, you guys. If you travel a lot or you plan on traveling a lot, it's the best travel card. I wish I got it sooner. I had American Express before, and I like American Express, but literally the only rewards I've gone through there are miles, which is great, but Chase gives you get access to a lot of different airport lounges for free, and you can bring 2 guests. I used it when we were in Pittsburgh. You get like $300 travel credit a year. You just get all these really awesome benefits. I think a lot of people are scared of credit cards, or they think like it's only for excessive spending or something, but it's not. Like, I literally put anything I possibly can on my credit card to build up miles and to build up points, and then I just paid off every month. So I don't ever spend more than I can or should using a credit card. If you can kind of budget and manage your spending and you're not afraid of kind of going overboard, then credit cards are an awesome way to just get benefits and points and miles and free flights and everything. Rebecca says, what's your Chipotle order? I always get asked this, and it's basically 2 soft tacos with white tortillas, but I don't usually eat the tortillas. The reason why I get the 2 tacos is because I can never finish one of the full bowls, and the tacos are way cheaper, and it's like the perfect amount for the 2 insides of the taco. So I usually get that with chips and guac, a side of chips and guac, and I get sofritas. I don't like Chipotle for like burritos, okay? Gotta have my California burritos, but just as like, you know, Tex-Mexy kind of Mexican food, when I just want like a bowl and some chips and guac, it's bomb. Kira says, I'm curious about why, with the love of traveling, why you don't ever do the brand trips. And then someone replied and said she's done brand trips to London with Burberry. I went to London with Burberry twice a couple years ago. I went on a brand trip with Elf also to California a couple years ago. I have gotten invited to some others that I've turned down just because a lot of times they're pretty last minute, like the month before. So sometimes it just doesn't work out with the dates. Like, I already have plans, or I'm going to be gone already somewhere else, or I just don't feel like it's a good fit with the brand, or sometimes they have like specific products that they're looking to promote or something. So sometimes I just don't feel like it's a good fit and not something that I want to talk about on my channel. And then the other thing is that I learned this in one of the past brand trips, but I can't commit to being functioning for every activity planned throughout the brand trips. And when you're paying for someone to go on those trips, like as a brand, obviously there's a certain expectation that you're going to be posting and you're going to be vlogging and you're going to be doing all this stuff. And if I can't physically be there because of health stuff for all the activities, then I don't know, I feel bad on my part, and then it kind of just like, I don't think a lot of people understand. If it's a good fit and if it sounds fun and if everything lines up, I would definitely still consider going. Brittany says, now that you're settled into your home nicely, do you like being a homeowner, and do you plan on staying put for a while? PS, love your decor. Yeah, I love it. I haven't had to, knock on wood, like fix anything or anything crazy yet, so I haven't had to deal with that part of being a homeowner, so that's been really nice. There's been like minor things, but nothing major, so just crossing my fingers. It is so nice for multiple reasons. One, just knowing that what you're paying every month, like your mortgage, is actually going towards an investment and not just being like thrown away in rent. And then I also just love that it actually makes me feel less attached and like less like I have to stay in Seattle forever, because I can rent it out at, oh my god, I keep hitting this thing. I can rent it out at any time if I wanted to and go live somewhere else, which is also really nice. So I'm probably going to be holding on to this place for a long time, like even when I move, because it is an investment and it's just a killer spot and everything, and I love it. Kristen says, what was your dream job when you were younger? I had like a bunch of random ideas throughout the years. I think my dream job changed like every year. At one point I wanted to be a photographer. At one point I wanted to go to art school. Then I wanted to be an interior designer, doctor. That was short-lived in college. I thought I wanted to be a doctor and go to med school for like a minute. I don't know if I ever told this story, but I literally decided to like change my course from international relations to going on like the med track. And then that night, Rach and I went to Panda Express and I got a fortune cookie that said, reevaluate your life plans. Thank you, Panda Express. So a lot of people asked what's the hardest thing about being on YouTube. We're closing the phone for this one for a second. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I think for me personally, just because integrity is so important to me. I actually remember I was thinking about this the other day. In one of my past jobs when I worked at a startup, we did this off-site team thing. We did some exercise where we had to figure out like our top values for ourselves, and I found out through that exercise that one of my top 3 is integrity. And for me, integrity in my job, in my personal life, whatever it is just super important to me. And so I think because of that, being potentially misunderstood or not having control over how people might misinterpret something you say or something you do, or think that they know everything about your life, or think they know every second of things that go on, I think that's the hardest part for me. And in this job especially, your integrity is questioned on a daily basis, but there's almost this added level where it's like, especially in the last couple of years, people being more transparent and brands being more transparent and like articles coming out and all this stuff. I mean, you guys know all the stuff that happened on YouTube in the last couple of years. It's just been insane. So I think now that people are more aware of what's going on, or not aware but misunderstood about what's going on, I think there's just almost a level of skepticism across the board. And so it's almost like your integrity is being questioned every single day, and that you normally don't get just in like an average job to this degree. So for me, I think that's the hardest part. Gwyneth says, has having a boyfriend changed how you look at your future or travel plans? Love you too. There was a few questions like that. I think there was a couple on Twitter like that too. Yeah, I think yeah, in the sense that now it's not just me. Like if it was a year ago, I could have just picked up and like moved to Chicago if I wanted to or whatever, and now obviously there's like someone else to consider. And so I think it has changed in that way, but he loves to travel and he also wants to move and live in certain places at some point. So I think we just need to figure out like when that is and where it is. So it's just changed in the sense that now there's someone else involved. Not that it's not going to happen. Like we both don't want to stay in Seattle for forever. Like I said, I could rent out my place. I'm kind of getting the urge again, so we'll see. Danny says, do you plan on doing any more collabs? 1548 is so good. Thank you. I don't want to be one of those annoying ass YouTubers who says that there's a collab coming out but they can't tell you anything about it, but there's a collab coming out and I can't tell you anything about it. It's not going to be for a while. This one's going to take a really long time to work on, and it just kind of started, so don't get too excited yet. This one was also asked a few times on Twitter too. Tessa says, do you plan to foster another dog? Yeah, I think my next one won't be able to be until end of June, because I'm going to be gone until the middle of June. July I'm going to be gone too, so probably end of June. In August I'll do another one. I almost did one the week before London. Now I'm really glad I didn't, because I would have been way too stressed out. This past week has been like insanity trying to get everything done. Kelly says, why/how did you live in Turkey, Israel? I forgot where it was and how was it. So I lived in Israel and Jordan at a couple different points in my life. I lived in Israel in high school. I lived in Jordan for a year in college. And then I lived in Israel again after Jordan. I did visit Turkey though, in the winter, which was not the best choice, but it was beautiful and I want to go back. Jordan, I for sure want to go back to visit my host family. I'm like trying to coordinate because one of my host brothers lives in Saudi Arabia now, so we're just trying to make it work to figure out when he's going to be back and then when I could be there. But Jordan is amazing. I feel like Jordan is going to be one of those countries that almost gets popular like Iceland in a little bit, because Jordan it's very safe, and people don't think of anywhere in the Middle East as safe. Jordan is safe. It's fine to travel to. You just have to be aware of your surroundings like anywhere in any country. I felt safer in Jordan than I did when I was in college. A lot of people are always shocked to hear that. I also think I like lived in a cave in the middle of the desert. Also not the case. Amman is a city. There are really cool parts of Jordan. The north is beautiful. It's like super green. There are lakes. I'll try and pop in a couple pictures here. I don't know if I've ever showed pictures from my Jordan trip. If you go, don't just go to Petra. Make sure you go to like the north. Make sure you go to Amman. Always bargain down. You're getting majorly ripped off if you don't speak Arabic. Just a heads up. Always make sure taxi drivers turn on the meter. There are just like a few things that you should know before going, but I feel like Jordan is super underrated. So is Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is incredible. When I lived in Tel Aviv the second time, it was really interesting for me because I could hear a lot more Arabic than I could obviously before, because I didn't speak Arabic the first time I went to Israel. So the second time it was just a totally different experience for me, and I got to speak with a lot of Arabs living there, not to get too political or anything, but it was just a really eye-opening experience for me the second time. I went to the West Bank for a little bit. Leslie Berry said a very vague question. She just said relationship advice, but I wanted to answer this because I kind of learned something, or I guess like had a little bit of a light bulb moment the last, I would say like year and a half ago, before I met my current boyfriend. And I think it happened from a few things. I started listening to a lot of like dating and relationship podcasts. I started watching Married at First Sight, just a lot of things. I started reading more, and I just kind of realized the things that are important. And that sounds super basic, but I think in the past I have gone for a certain type of person. My past relationships were great. I have nothing bad to say about them at all. They're great guys and they're amazing. But I think now I just know the things that are super important for me long term. And that sounds really basic, but like think about it, and some of the things you might not even realize are, or you might not be prioritizing in your current relationship or relationships in the past. So I would just say learn what those things are for yourself, so you know what to look out for when that person comes along. All right, let's head to Twitter. Oh, by the way, I actually covered up the highlights in my hair. I still have the MBRs in. I just put on a hair dye the other day because they were pulling so red and I could not get them to tone down with toner, and the toner fades out of my hair in like 2 days. Yeah, I'm back to all black and I'm feeling it. Don't know how I just thought of that. Total side note. Side note, shout out to Michelle. She just got her merch in. Thank you for supporting. I'll have the link down below. Kate says, what are some hobbies you have that we might not know? I feel like most of my hobbies involve my job, which is I'm very fortunate for, but I also love home decor. I love DIYing stuff. I love repainting furniture, thrifting. I think you guys know all these things. Anything that is old and cheap that I can make look not old and cheap, I'm into. I would love to learn even more how to build things. I took a woodworking class last summer. Haven't put a whole lot of those skills to use yet. Brandy says, have you ever thought of doing a pixie cut or dyeing your hair a random color? Because that would be dope. You must be new here, Brandy. I had both of those things unintentionally a couple years ago when I tried to go silver. It was a fiasco. I would never cut my hair short again. I'm never doing it. And I would never try and dye my hair a crazy color again. I got that out of my system. I know the damage that can be done. I'm gonna be having long black hair for a while. Ooh, this one is a really interesting question. Maria says, a lot of people say they don't regret going through hard times because it made them who they are today. If you could wipe away all the body pain you've had, would you? Yes. Short answer, 100% yes. I wish no one any kind of chronic pain, especially debilitating ones that take away years of your life. Short answer, yes, because I cannot imagine a pain-free life. To live every day and be able to do whatever the heck you want every day, and to not question if you're gonna feel like shit in an hour. I just can't wrap my head around that, so I would say for sure yes. But with that being said, I don't know if I would have the same appreciation for the good days or for life in general. It's interesting, like I don't think I would be the same person if I didn't, but I also would rather, I think, have like years of my life back. So that's an interesting question though. Kayla also asked a good question. She said, how have you changed over the last 5 years or so as a person? I'm 23 and I'm completely different than I was then. I'm 23 and what's your biggest life lesson so far? I don't know if this happens at every stage of life. It probably does. But when I was 23, I felt totally different than I was at the beginning of college, like when I was 19, 20. But now I feel totally different than I did when I was 23. I think there's something that happens between age like 22, 23, 24, and then when you get into your upper 20s, I don't know, just certain things are very different in my mind now. I think it probably happens at every stage of life. I'll probably look at this when I'm 30 or 35 and be like, you knew nothing. But of course, looking back at your life, I would hope that everyone would feel some kind of like growth over the years, you know. Biggest life lesson. Oh, this could go so many directions. This is gonna sound so cliche, but to go with your gut. Your gut is never wrong, and there's been one time specifically in the last couple of years where I didn't go with my gut and the exact thing that I thought might happen happened. That, and just to cautiously trust people, not just blindly trust them, because not everyone has the right intentions, unfortunately. All right, we need some light questions. I feel like things just got real deep. Rachel says, how did you get started as a makeup YouTuber? I should be screenshotting all these. I'm gonna hate myself when I'm editing, having to try and find all these tweets. How did you get started as a makeup YouTuber? How did you find your niche as a foundation guru? I don't know about that. I feel like the second question is easier, so I'm gonna start with that one, the whole foundation thing. I just started doing a lot of foundation reviews because I love foundation. It's as simple as that. And I think if you are trying to kind of find your niche on the internet, you need to go with whatever you love doing, because if that's your niche, you're going to be doing a whole lot of it, let me tell you. The whole Foundation Friday thing actually started after the 15 Days of Foundation, because my first season of 15 Days of Foundation went so well, like 4 years ago or whenever that was. A lot of you guys wanted to see more foundation reviews after that, so that's why I started Foundation Friday, and now I've been doing that for a few years, and I do 15 Days of Foundation. So that's just kind of like how it evolved. It wasn't like really a clear strategy or anything in my mind. I was just like, I love foundation. There's not a lot of foundation reviews for people with acne and pale skin. Let's do it. And then how did I get started as a makeup YouTuber? I just started filming myself. There's not really any secret to it. You just gotta start. Looking back at my old videos, they are awful, they're horrible. They were shot in my like college tiny closet kind of room. I had a construction light from the thrift store that I would film with, so you just have to start. No one's going to be seeing those first few videos anyways. You might get like a few views on those first few videos anyways, so it's basically just practice. It's practice for yourself. So you just got to start, and then you'll find out that you either love it and you want to keep doing it and improve, or you don't. So you just got to start. Nina says, how do you keep your life productive and organized and manage so many tasks? I'm trying to think when this video will be going up. I think it will already be live, but I either have one coming or it's already up, a 6 a.m. morning routine video where I go through a lot of those kinds of things. So if you missed that, I'll link it down below, or it's coming. Emily says, any tips for getting ahead with work? Like, how do you maintain your uploads and pre-film and edit for vacays, etc.? Plan. You gotta plan the crap out of things, you guys. I have a planner. I talk a little bit about it in the 6 a.m. video, but I will literally look about a month ahead and then go backwards from that. So like when I knew these 4 trips in a row were coming up, I started pre-filming a month before, or about maybe even a little bit more, like 5 weeks before I knew I was leaving. You just have to kind of block out your days. And if you have another job and you're trying to do that, I would used to block out Saturday and Sunday. So you just kind of have to make compromises for it if it's something you want to do. When I was doing YouTube, when I had other full-time jobs for years, or I was in college full-time, I would do YouTube on every weekend, and then I would pre-film for the week. Things always happen. There's always things that come up that might prevent you from getting something done. So if you give yourself enough time to allow that thing to happen, whatever it is, and then be able to do it the next day, that's when you don't miss deadlines, and that's when you can actually get stuff done on time, get it done ahead of time or anything. So if you're a last minute person, try to not be, and try to just plan out things ahead of time and give yourself that buffer room, because that's when you actually can get things done because you have enough time. Jillian says, do you use filters on any of your cameras? No, I don't even know how to do that. I don't have any filters. I don't put on any filters in editing. On my phone is the only camera. I use filters for Instagram and stuff. I love editing Instagram photos. I think it's like one of the most fun things ever. Actually, if you guys want to see a video on how I edit my Instagram photos, let me know. I think that video would be super fun. Katie says, would you ever consider doing true crime cases? Like giving your theories on unsolved crimes and things? No, that's not in my repertoire. I'm not into true crime stuff. I don't think I would be very good at that, and yeah, I'm just not in it to win it with true crime, you know. Sierra says, any photography tips, be it selfies, scenery, etc. Your vibe is always so pleasing. Thank you. I would say, as far as like if you're trying to get, I don't know if you're talking about just in general or like Instagram aesthetic, but if you're trying to get a vibe going for your Instagram, I would say plan out your feed ahead of time. So pick one color or a few colors and make sure it kind of alternates between your feed, so when you look at it from a grid point of view, it all looks like cohesive. And then selfies, I kind of switch up between natural lighting and filming. If I had just filmed a video, I'll usually get a couple photos in front of the filming lights against my background, and I'll just edit out the lights or whatever, so it's just like a plain white background. But then I'll also get stuff in natural lighting. It kind of just depends. I kind of like switched up. I really have been liking this one travel light thing. That's what I shot this photo, which was against the wallpaper. It was way too dark in that room, so I was like, I don't feel like bringing out my whole lighting into here. Let me just try and use this light and see if it works. And it actually did a really good job. It's super tiny. It's like a little square. I also have one behind me when I film to light up the background. Kaylee says, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I really don't think that far in advance, like too deep about things, because I do whatever I'm feeling in the moment. But one thing that I do want to be doing in 10 years is flipping houses. I want to start out by buying rentals and renting it out, and then once I have income coming in from those rentals, I want to take that to flip my first house, and I want to just like learn that whole process. My uncle flips houses, so I could learn from him, but I think it's going to be a lot of just like teaching myself how to do it. My first step is buying a rental property, which I want to make happen this year. Elizabeth says, is YouTube worth all the time, effort, and stress? I don't know if she means like for me, or if she means if you're thinking of starting. I'm assuming if you're thinking of starting. Either way, the answer is yes, totally. I don't ever regret being on YouTube. The only thing I think is super weird when I think about it is that if I ever quit YouTube, my shit is on the internet for the rest of eternity, whether I want it to be or not. So if I wanted to just like turn into a ghost, that would be pretty difficult. So I think that's weird to think about. But is it worth the time, effort, and stress? Yeah, 100%, 100 billion%. This one was favorited a lot on Twitter. Mooney says, what advice would you give someone who is unmotivated and who has lost their passion? Try different things. Take a pottery class, go rock climbing, like just do something totally different. You never know who you're gonna meet doing those things, whether it's just a friend or someone who ends up leading you somewhere else, or you might end up loving that thing and just kind of get like motivated to do things and get like a new kind of spark for life. Whatever it is, just try new things. Kristen says, favorite places in Seattle to shop, eat, etc. I have a whole video on what to see in Seattle. I'm thinking about doing an updated one because I have, or just like a part 2, because I have some other recommendations now that I've discovered in like the last year. But if you're visiting Seattle, definitely check out that video. It has like my top recommendations for everything, views, how to get around, where to stay, food, like everything. Any tips for first-time homebuyers / something you wish you knew before you started the process? I think this is super dependent on the housing market you're looking in, because the housing market in Seattle is entirely different than it would be in like North Carolina. Go with your gut. I actually made an offer on one place that I didn't end up getting before I got this place, and now looking back, I'm so happy that that one didn't work out, because I had this gut feeling the night before we found out if I got it or not that it wasn't right. And I remember texting my dad that night being like, I don't know, shit, my battery's dying. I guess we've been talking for like over an hour, so I'm gonna make this quick. I remember texting my dad that night being like, I think I might have made a mistake, I don't know if this is the one. And I remember googling like, is regret normal when being a first-time home buyer and all this stuff, and it is normal to some degree, but I also just had this like gut feeling that that wasn't the place, and it didn't work out. And I'm so happy it didn't work out. But because this video is probably hella long and this battery is about to die on me, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little bath chat happening. If you did, you can give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions that you want answered in a next Q&A or Shadow and Schmooze or anything, you can leave them down below. But make sure you're following me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, because that's where I usually ask you guys to ask questions. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.